Welcome to the Modernist Syrian on AGN. My name is Carmen Morad. Today we are in the city of Modesto on location at Skewer's Restaurant with our Mayor Sue Zwahlen. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoy this time with you.
Absolutely. You know, we had you on the program when you were first running for mayor, and now as our mayor, we are so excited to have you here. Our thanks to Brad Morad for letting us use this venue. This is one of the most vibrant businesses and restaurants in the city of Modesto, and we'd love to see more businesses, more economic development in our downtown Modesto. So thank you for being here.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity, and I too love to be downtown. It's such a vibrant place to be, and really a lot of times on Fridays and Saturdays, even if I'm not enjoying one of the lovely venues downtown, I will just drive through to sort of take in the fun that everyone's having and the action and people on the streets and eating and enjoying our downtown. So we're really looking forward to more development downtown.
Absolutely. Let's talk about what happened after 2020 and COVID. You know, city of Modesto, just like other cities and communities, we went through a lot, but we are back. Right? As I'm going to ask you to give us the highlights of the past 3 years this time that you've been mayor, and highlights and challenges, but I do know you have such a positive energy as our mayor. I watched the city council meetings, I've attended a few, and you run the meetings, and as a mayor, you represent our city. But I also know that there are challenges. I mean, we'd be fooling ourselves to know that everything is hunky-dory. Share with us what some of the challenges have been that you still want to continue to improve for quality of life for residents of City of Modesto.
Right, well, quality of life is really the reason that I'm here. I was born here, and my desire is to improve our community in any way that I can to make it a better place for people to be and to thrive, hopefully. When I was first elected, we were in the midst of COVID. I ran that entire campaign through COVID with only 2 in-person events. The rest was all done with technology. So it was an interesting time. We were all wearing masks. I didn't know anyone at City Hall. Now they are like my closest family, quite honestly. We work so well together. On our council, I enjoy all 6 of our council members. We really, really work hard, along with staff, to really improve the quality of life in Modesto. We have accomplished so much. I would put a bet with any other city in this country, and I spent some time with a lot of mayors recently at the Mayor's Conference, for what we accomplished, especially in the first even 21 months of my term. With our council, we navigated COVID, assisted our businesses through that trial, which was really, really difficult. Yes. And we're able to do some really creative things to make it so that they could be successful. We also tackled police reform. And with our police chief, who was dedicated to that process, we were able to do that and look at alternative response models for better resources to our community and to better utilize those resources, as well as a review board and independent auditor with the support of everyone in the Modesto Police Officers Association and others. I'm so proud of that. We were able to discuss and decide to go forward with the sales tax, which was a really big decision for our council, but we had a budget that needed to be balanced. We would never be able to accomplish what we are doing now without the support of our residents, and they told us they were willing to pay that bit of sales tax more to improve this community. So it's really what the residents told us that they wanted to improve our community, and we did it. We took it on, and we are doing just that. We are doubling, or if not tripling, our traffic enforcement, as we know that's a problem in our community. So when you mention that, there are challenges for sure, but that's what we're going head on into to tackle those. So as I mentioned, we're increasing our law enforcement officers. We have more applicants now than we have ever had for the Modesto Police Department. We're attracting officers to our community, even with this police reform. That says a lot. We put the sales tax on the ballot. With that, we changed Measure G, which gave us direction that the residents told us and voted for our auditor. We have a city auditor now. That's a huge accomplishment in our city. So there's so many things that we have tackled. We're just really excited about the vibrancy of the community. When we talk about downtown, we have the Children's Museum now.
Yes.
That was just beginning when I was first elected. And that's a group of our residents, again, that have stepped up to make that happen. Our graffiti museum, our art.
Yes.
Our art murals, our art activities downtown, the art walk. These are all resident driven. These are people that in our community have stepped up to do the work that's necessary, whether it's owning a business or promoting art, music. Do you know that we are one of the only cities in the country that has a symphony, a ballet, and an opera?
That is so exciting.
We are a music haven. That is really a cool thing. And that is residents in this community that are making that happen, that support it and work to make it happen.
Absolutely. Another thing is when you mentioned art, I am going to include the link to the actual tour of art murals. But something really exciting that I found out recently, Mayor, is, our blossoms. It's this time of the year. There's actually a tour that I heard someone out of state say, you don't have to go to the blossoms in Washington, D.C. You can do that in Modesto.
Right.
How exciting is that? We know orchard owners that do those beautiful photo displays. So this is a very beautiful time to be here, even though our storms and our blizzards, I don't want to say blizzards, but our storms have affected us. But we live in a very unique climate, and we should really enjoy it and take it in stride. Mayor, I want to talk to you about the last 3 years that you have been mayor. We talked about the challenges. We talked about what it takes to run the meetings, to make decisions. And this is really important. When we first talked to you when you were running for mayor, we talked about the fact that your education and background, your expertise as an ER nurse, as a triage nurse. Tell us how that continues to be the force in your decision-making abilities. We all know being the mayor of a city of this size is not an easy task, but what is it in you that still drives you to continue to be making these decisions and to have the kind of camaraderie that you have with the rest of the council and your high decision makers in the city?
Well, thank you for that question, because I am a retired emergency room nurse. I still have my license. I just can't give that up. So I do the education to keep that. But my experience as an emergency room nurse could not have prepared me better for this job. That was absolutely what prepared me the most for doing this job as mayor, because I am constantly assessing situations, triaging situations, and then making decisions based on the information and data that I have. And some of that is assessing people's behaviors, their personalities, being intuitive to their needs. Sometimes it's based on data and budget and factual information. So it's really been a great help to me to have had that many, many decades of experience working with people, not only in the emergency room where I saw and helped firsthand with people that were severely mentally ill, suffered from addiction, suffered from many of the problems that we are trying to tackle in our community. So I use that experience every single day in City Hall in working with my fellow council members. We all have different personalities. We all have different priorities. We all have different experiences that we bring to the council. However, we all work together, and I feel like it's very similar to in the emergency room where we work as a team to take care of that patient that is in that bed. We all work together and bring our knowledge together to do what's best. And it's very much the same in City Hall. And I truly am honored every single day to be able to do my best to improve our community.
Thank you for sharing that sincere testimony, I want to say, of the past few years. I want to bring up something that I had an experience with reaching out to you with a member of the youth in our city. We reached out to you, and she's 16, will be 17 soon. She had an idea to do a nonprofit, to start something that was really going to protect the health of the youth. And what I found you to be was so approachable. You made time for us, for her and I, as someone to introduce you to. And I want you to know that working with the Youth Commission as well, you didn't mention that in one of the things that Modesto has, but being able to keep our youth here, to be able to make our youth feel that they are enabled, that they can achieve things. They don't have to move out of this area to be heard. Let us know how you feel about the fact that the Youth Commission is doing work, and how people can do internships and follow you, and not only just as a mayor, but as a woman mayor.
Yes, it's so interesting that you would bring that up. And that is one of the things that, again, 2 young women, residents of our community, knocked on my door at home one day during the campaign and said, we want to reinstitute the Youth Commission. I said, that is so important. They did all the research, pulled all the documents. They're brilliant. They set up an appointment, met me in my office, laid it all out of exactly what this could possibly look like. And then we did the work together to provide the bylaws and to make that happen. The youth in our community are so important. And really it takes me back to my own day of growing up here. I was born here. My husband and I met when we were seniors in high school. We started dating. So it seems like not that long ago when I was their age. And so I know how they feel and how bright they are and how brilliant they are and what they can offer to our city. So I feel like it's just natural to be a part of their lives and to hear them and to truly hear them and to listen and to hopefully bring to fruition some of the ideals and initiatives that they think are really important. So really those are some of the best days to be with young people. And I enjoy every minute of it, and I wish that I even could spend more time with them, but they are just remarkable. Our future is in great hands. I just know that it is. They're pretty amazing. So that's just one of the other great things about being mayor, is to, again, listen to everyone in the community.
Yes.
And try to, there again, provide that quality of life for them so that they feel safe and that they can thrive.
I truly believe in that, because the young lady that I'm working with, she was so excited to meet you, to have that meeting. And she shared it with the rest of her peers. And it does give them that opportunity that they are heard. They're not just young minors, teenagers. They have ideas and they know how to make a change in the community.
We did, by the way, open up the position again for interns.
Perfect.
And I do currently have an intern. She is a senior at a local high school, and had another young man earlier in the year who is now in college. But it's really great to weekly be with her and hear what's happening in her life and what's important.
It gives you that insight, not into people like my age, for example, but it's important to know what the youth are thinking, how they feel about their city, what are their plans for the future, what is it that they want. It's very important to hear them and then take into consideration how they can contribute to make them feel wanted.
Right.
I also want to talk about the fact that you work on a lot of projects. We invited you to attend a grand opening for a senior adult daycare. And you were so gracious to show up with a lot of information and a lot of not only new businesses that need to come to Modesto. You know, we've talked about economic development, what that means to cities. Some cities are friendlier than others to attract businesses, whether it's city planning, whether it's, you know, getting a permit and all of that. But that was one that I really realized that it's important for this civic engagement, for this connection, to get to know our elected officials. And that's one of the things about you I wanted to mention. You're very approachable.
Thank you.
You make time to listen and to see how people can learn if they have a business, if they have a service that they want to offer. The other thing that we hear a lot about, Mayor, is public safety, which you, in your previous statements, you shared with us earlier about more officers being recruited. We've had our Chief of Police, Brandon Glepsy, on the program. He's also he's all about the community. He wants to hear about what their challenges are, how they feel. There was, for the longest time, Modesto had, you know, was known for certain things. We don't want to go through all of them, but things are changing. I think there's an improvement in how people are talking about our city. And share with us what you see in the future, in the coming years, that you want residents to know about.
Okay. We have facts and data to prove that crime is definitely decreasing in our community. And through the work of Brandon, as you mentioned, and our police department, they are remarkable people, and they truly want to make a difference also. There's so many initiatives that we have tackled, as I mentioned before, alternative response models, to put the best resources at the time that are needed. We don't always need an armed officer for certain situations that they are addressing. So this really starts even at dispatch. So that's another thing that another initiative we're working on, so that when the call even comes in, we send the correct response. We are adding additional advanced life support units to our firefighters. They're very often the first people that respond to emergency calls. The police department has now taken on our neighborhood preservation unit. So a lot of those quality of life issues that are just a nuisance, that do not require an armed officer to respond. The Modesto Police Department is hiring people in that unit to address those issues. And even, you know, when we talk about safety, it's all connected. Our trees, our beloved trees that everyone loves so much, that we had this storm last weekend. We had 700 calls last weekend. And we are addressing those calls. There again, triaging, prioritizing. Their first priority was to clear the streets so that emergency vehicles were able to get through. Second priority is to address the trees that had landed on property or cars. And now it is to clean up the piles of branches that we see all over the streets. And just this morning, I drove by one of our crews. 3 people were at a residence cleaning up some trees, and I pulled over to the side of the road and I thanked them. I said, I really appreciate your work. This is so important in our community. And they said, thank you so much for stopping and saying that. Sometimes we don't hear when the trees are big and beautiful and strong and providing shade. We just hear, you know, when there's trouble with them. So really everything is connected, and safety is always number one. And that's, again, where my training comes into play. I know how to do that. So it's really great to see everyone on board. We all have the same goals. And there again, the residents made it abundantly clear before Measure H passed that was also their top priority. So we are basically doing our best to address the needs of what the residents of our community want. So that's where everything begins, is with the safety of each of our residents.
You know, in closing, Mayor, I'd like to ask you about, we always talk about the unhoused, the homelessness issue. We also realize, having so many guests on this program that were state representatives, county, and of course you with our city, we do know that it's regarding services, it's regarding mental health, it's regarding housing, affordable housing issues. Where is the city of Modesto right now in the midst of everything I just mentioned when it comes to our homeless population?
We are well aware of the, as I describe it, it's a collective trauma that we all experience, I believe, when we see someone struggling on the street. It's difficult. It's difficult to see that. It's difficult to watch that. I think part of our humanity is we all react differently to it. Some people are fearful of people that are on the streets. Others want to help. And we listen to everyone, and we recognize that it's a very difficult situation. We as a city have addressed, again, head on the issue. We have provided safe parking sites, developed that. It took several months. We have that in place. We have, right close by here, actually, have a youth center now that's connected with the Center for Human Services that is a place for people, young people to live. From the Youth Navigation Center, they now have housing here. We have housing that's been developed for the the mentally ill through the Behavioral Center. We have housing that is being built specifically for mentally ill people and for veterans. That's in the process. And we have a large housing project that will be at 7th Street called the 7th Street Village, as well as Archway Commons, which has really helped. I was there for the ribbon cutting with the secretary, the treasurer for the state of California. And she said this is the first one that she's actually been here for the groundbreaking and the ribbon cutting throughout the state of California. But the thing that was the most touching to me was a man that came up to me. I walked over to him actually and said, "Tell me about being here. Do you love it?" And he said, "Mayor, I used to live under that bridge, under the freeway, and now I'm here.
Wow.
I have a place where I'm safe and I'm warm and I'm sheltered." So we're doing a lot. The fact still remains is we do not provide health care. The county has the Health Services Agency, and they have behavioral health. They are healthcare providers. The city is not. We do utilities, public works, as I mentioned, police department, fire department. So we help treat and triage people that are on the streets, but we do not provide the care, other than we have some people that are trained to help them in those situations when they have that one-on-one contact. What I will say is we are contributing $3 million to develop another housing place, which will hopefully called Bridge Housing, which bridges that gap between the streets into a small pallet shelter, for lack of a better term, where there will be services provided and operations management of it. So that is right now open for proposals for people to apply, to provide land. We will provide infrastructure, and then they will operate and manage the services there. So we're doing everything that we can to address this real critical need in our community. And so I will not be satisfied till every single person is off the streets, although I know that it will be a continuous process.
Thank you for compartmentalizing each section of the services, because it's between city, county, state, and federal funding. And each city actually is responsible, or actually can be seeking or writing grants from different agencies that brings the money. So that project that you mentioned, that's a multi-level funded project.
They all are.
So they all are.
The funding is very complicated. We were one of the first counties to institute Care Court, Governor Newsom's Care Court. So that's another level of services that will help take individuals from the streets into the care that they so desperately need.
Absolutely.
And sometimes they don't or can't recognize mental illness is a disease, just like a broken bone, diabetes, or cancer, and there's treatment for it. So that's where we were hoping that helps those individuals.
But there's always those who refuse the services that are offered. And that's important for people to know, that the services and the resources are there,
Right.
but you cannot force someone to take them.
No, we don't force people to do things in our country. Generally speaking, when I talk to people that are on the streets that refuse care, it's because they have anxiety, they are not able to position themselves to live in a congregant environment. It's just the way it is for them.
Yeah.
So we are doing everything that we can to assist them from where they are at, to accommodate where they are at that point in their life, to hopefully find a situation that would work for them.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for all the clarifications, for sharing what City of Modesto is doing to tackle all the challenges and issues, and very nice to hear about the highlights. It's nice to know what, I always ask when I have someone on the program, what was the vote that you were most proud of, that you voted on, that you felt you accomplished something that really meant something to you?
Oh my goodness, that's difficult. Oh, the one vote. Oh, goodness gracious. I can't even think of one.
It's good to know there was more than one.
So I am truly so proud of the work that our council has accomplished. And I just can't think of one in particular. I'll probably think of it right when this interview's over.
Well, I want to thank you for the privilege of your time, Mayor. I know you're very busy, and you've always made time for the Assyrian community. A couple of years ago, when you presented a proclamation, and we were a few of the community leaders that were at City Council meeting, and you really truly made us feel welcome. The fact that we can celebrate the diversity of our city, we are a very diverse community, and to make us feel like we are heard and we feel like a part of the family of this city, business owners, entrepreneurs, educators, nurses, right? Doctors, health professionals. So thank you for always being there when I ask you to attend meetings, or you'll be getting invitations for more events coming up. Thank you for making time for every diverse community in our city.
You're welcome. Our community is made up of a diverse population. My grandparents came here, right? One side from the Azore Islands, Portuguese, and the other Swiss German. That's who we are in our community, a community of immigrants. We are. That's how this valley was populated. And this beautiful weather and the soil that my grandmother said was made of gold that produces the food for the world, that's who we are. So our community is truly a remarkable community due to our diversity and the willingness of residents that take on big projects, and we don't back down. We have that grit.
Yes,
and we just keep going forward.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, for making time.
You're very welcome.
This concludes our conversation with the Honorable Madam Mayor Sue Zwahlen of the City of Modesto. We'll see you on the next Modern Assyrian.